Is there a possibility that Marvel could recast Kang? Yes. How they do it is very important though. But let me tell you what could happen if they don't do this the right way. Everybody leaving. If y'all don't get this right, like again, just saying that if they have to. Salutations and fist bumps, folks. Welcome back to the BlerdGrid podcast. What am I saying? Salutations and fist bumps, folks. Welcome back to the BlerdGrid podcast. I am your host, the Blerd Grammar, and in today's episode, we are going to talk about one of the more controversial things that has happened inside the MCU, at least to date. The future of everyone's new big bad in the MCU, Kang. Okay, so if you have been living under a rock at this point, if you don't already know, Johnathon Majors has come under fire for an alleged assault situation. Again, alleged because he is completely standing by the fact that he is innocent in this situation, but it has been surfaced and pretty much at least everything pointing to Kang inside of the MCU, as far as I know, has been weirdly and eerily paused. I mean, I know that I've seen some articles in terms of Marvel Studios having some talks with Major's agent, and there's maybe some possibility that there's some changes that might happen. We don't know. Nobody actually has an inkling of an idea except for obviously his agent and anyone in his camp at this point. But at present, right now, he's saying that he's completely innocent. I believe it. Like me personally, I believe it. I don't get the vibe that he's that type of person, but obviously you don't know anybody if you don't go to bed with them, you don't go home with them. So obviously I don't know anything really, but looking at face value from the outside looking in, I don't believe it. And even in the statement that the young lady sent out herself, like inside of the text and stuff like that she sent to him, it actually says that she never really wanted any of this to happen in the first place. But because of the state is, again, because of what I know, as far as what I know, this is all based on things that I've read. So I don't necessarily live in the particular state that he lives in, but from the reports, it's saying that they had to make an arrest, that because there were police called onto the scene, they had to make an arrest, and because of his stature, that's what happened. So that whole thing is basically still playing out legally. Again, I am not a specific lawyer. I am not a lawyer at all. I am nothing of that sort in any legal capacity. So I have no real gravitas in terms of understanding the real nature of the law on his point. But as far as I know, that's what had to happen. So with that in tow, should Marvel recast? I don't know. Again, it's still being played out inside of the courtrooms and all that kind of stuff in terms of the legal matters and all of that needs to play out. But in terms of a recast, that could be a domino effect that we don't necessarily want to see in the MCU. And here's what I mean by that. Because of the way that the MCU retroactively works, if we were to get a different Kang, like how all that, yes, understandably, Kang can be different characters and all that kind of stuff, and he can show up in multiple different facets and all that. Like everything is on the table with Kang. We understand that, but in general, we were gearing up for Johnathon Majors being the actual face of the MCU's big bad in all of his different glories that you could possibly have him in. So the Council of Kang, in literally every facet of Kang, you could put him in, Johnathon Majors was slated to do all of that, and he can. Like, dude is amazing. He can do that. You saw it literally at the end of, spoiler alert here if you haven't seen it, but if you haven't seen this by now, I don't know what you're doing. But you saw that at the end of Quantumania. Like, the dude is a beast. And at the same time, not only like to speak to that specific thing, he had 2 movies, blockbuster movies, in theaters at the same time, holding top spots in box office numbers. The man is amazing. So that's what everybody wanted. And to know or to have it on the table that it might not happen, it does sting a little bit. Not going to lie. It does, like, as a Marvel fan, it does sting to know that there's a possibility that one of the characters that I was looking forward to in terms of being really good in the MCU, not being who I thought he was going to be because of some outside stuff. It hurts. It does. It don't make me feel good. I tell you that much. It don't make me feel good. It made me feel kind of icky inside, just because of who I am as a Marvel fan and what I've read of Kang specifically. It would hurt. It would hurt. It would hurt. But I did read that there's possibly a silver lining to something here. So moving on to another point that I have, and again, I'm going to wrap this up with this third point. Is there a possibility that Marvel could recast Kang? Yes. How they do it is very important though, because if they do it the wrong way, it could be catastrophic for the entirety of the MCU. I have to be careful with my words and how I say this, but think about how Thor: Love and Thunder, for some people, pretty much canned the MCU altogether for them. Like, I have some people in my circle that were literally like, I'm done with the MCU because of Thor: Love and Thunder. Like, all the other stuff, baby in bathwater thrown out the window literally because of that one movie. I don't subscribe to that particularly, but if they were to recast Kang and did it wrong, bruh, that would literally domino the entirety of the MCU to no end. And even as a Marvel fan, it would be hard to support it. It would. It would be hard to support if they did this wrong. And even with the whole legal stuff and all that, I get it. You have the Disney brand has to be upheld and all that kind of stuff. I understand. However, as a Marvel fan, I'm going to keep saying this because it's just literally where I'm standing here. As a Marvel fan, I would loathe the dropping of the ball, the dropping of the ball that could happen with this whole Kang situation. But I did see an article on, I gotta remember where it came from. Hold on. I did see an article from We Got This Covered that gives a very different but creative spin on a recast to Kang. And here it comes. 5, 4, 3, 2. If you want to go read that, go ahead. 2, 1. All right, here we go. So, what if Robert Downey Jr. came back as a variant to Kang in some part of the multiverse? That's what they're proposing. I'm going to let you think on that for a second. about what that could look like inside of this present MCU that we have right now. And understanding, especially if you've read Kang, if you've never read comics before, I get it. We're still family here. That's why you come here specifically. That's what we do. But if you've read Kang before, you know what I'm trying to dig at here. There's a possibility that that could happen. Strong possibility? I'm not saying that at all, because Robert Downey Jr. is expensive, bruh. To get him back into the MCU, it is very expensive. Just a cameo alone is like $5 million or something like that. Like it's astronomical just for him being in a movie for 10 seconds. It's like millions of dollars just to get him on set. But if they did that and did it right, I don't have emotions or words to tell you what I would actually be feeling in the theater seeing Robert Downey Jr. as a variant of Kang. Bruh. It's an MCU fan's dream. To bring him back in that capacity? What are you? Bruh, sign me up. If it at any point can happen, sign me up now. Anyway, oh man, look, if it could happen, I want it. I want to see it. I'm not even going to tell you that it could, but I would love to see it. You hear me? Love to see it. But let me tell you what could happen if they don't do this the right way. Everybody leaving. If y'all don't get this right, like, again, just saying that if they have to recast Kang, y'all don't get this right, it is detrimental to the MCU's future. And I'm here to tell you that right now. At least for this fan. You can have your own opinion if you want. But at least for this fan, if y'all do it wrong after what happened with phase 4 and how people are feeling right now, you ain't gonna have a studio at that point. You gotta get this right. So, all that to say is I hope that Johnathon Majors stays as Kang. I don't know what could happen with that at all. Like, really, it is all up in the air. Everything is completely hush hush in terms of his camp. All I do know is that Marvel has talked to his camp in terms of his agent. They haven't said anything else. So we just have to wait and see. So until that point, we'll just be waiting. All right, well, that is the end of this episode, and hopefully we can figure out something with Johnathon Majors and Kang going forward. But if you want to have a bigger discussion about this, if you want to hit me on all the socials, that is at BlerdGrid, at literally every social outlet that you could possibly think of: Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, all of that, at BlerdGrid. And if you want more videos and stuff like that, more in-depth talks about the MCU and stuff like that, feel free to head on over to the YouTube channel if you're not already there, if you're not already watching this on YouTube. And until next time, for the BlerdGrid, I'm your host, BlerdGrid. Blerd out.